Siri to
Good evening, everyone. This is our Florida conference meeting to help us go through and be prepared for Gillette Camporee.
enable for
So we're excited about that, and we want to make sure that everyone is ready to go. So I'm going to share with you a document tonight. This is to help us be prepared and be on the same page. And we want to,
what is that? Zoom meeting.
Calvin, I think we can hear you, just so you know that. All right. Let me get my document here ready to go and we'll share it with you and then we'll go through it. Tonight, as part of what we're trying to do is help make sure clubs are ready to go. And there are several things that we want to review just to make sure that we are there. Sorry, looks like more people came in. Let me let them come through. All right. And I think we're ready to go. Let's jump in. So here we are looking at the agenda for our meeting, and we want to make sure that everybody gets what they need to be able to come in. This is the latest information that we have for you. So as we look at tonight, we have sold out our containers, and that's one of the things I'd like to share with you is that all our containers have sold out. So that's where we are, and as we look at what's happening around Florida Conference, I want to make sure that we are ready to help you and that you have what you need to be prepared. So here are some ideas. So we had the question, so containers are sold out. What do we do if we still need some stuff? In the newsletter that went out last Wednesday, we did put some information in there for you. And part of that information is some ideas for you, and here they are. Add gear or equipment to your chuck wagon. If someone's taking out your cooking trailer, someone's hauling that out, you might want to ask them, hey, can we put some stuff in there? You might want to arrange for Pathfinders if you're on a plane traveling by air to say, hey, you only get one suitcase and we're going to take a second suitcase, and that second suitcase will just be gear, and we'll be using that to get people to get some of our gear out there. Another thing you might consider is checking with the bus company if you're going by bus, just to see what kind of space you have under the bus and how you're traveling that way. You might ask a church member to say, hey, we don't have anyone to help us drive gear out. Is there someone who'd be willing to drive that out? Or maybe someone haul a trailer who's already driving out. That might be another option. So at this point, containers are sold out. We did get to the place where we filled 3 semi trucks. That's one more semi truck than we've ever taken. And some of our group said from the very beginning, hey, we think we're going to need 3 semi trucks. And they were right. We did. And there's still some stuff.
And Florida's Turnpike South. In 1 mile. Turn.
Yeah, thank you for staying muted. All right. So that's the container piece. That is sold out. That's where we are at this point. And the containers, I want to go over some of that real quick in terms of information. For containers, we do have the loading date already set for Sunday, July 28th, and now we have the 3 locations locked in. If you're in South Florida, you'd go to Maranatha Church. If you're in Central Florida, you'd come to the Florida Conference Office. Also, West Florida will come to Florida Conference Office. And then if you're from North Florida, you would go to... Please do mute your mic for this call so that if you do have to do something in the background, that we're not interrupted by you. All right. So Sunday, July 8, 28. And once we get closer to that date, we will make sure that we get all of this set up and you'll have a timeline and dates and all that stuff, more details. But for now, we want you to keep that July 28 in mind and also make plans for Sunday, August 18. That's when we come back. And those plans are already in place. So we just want to make sure that clubs are making plans for that. I talked to one club in South Florida and they said, wow, we're leaving on Monday. And they're taking off to do a pre-trip and going to see different things. So make sure that you keep this date of Sunday, the 28th in mind, and then make sure that you've got people to come back on Sunday, the 18th, because we don't have a place to store your camping gear and all the stuff you put in your containers. So those are the load and unload dates in Florida, and we'll take care of the other side of the load and unload in Gillette, but we want to make sure that you have those dates. I do want to go over a list real quick with you of containers so that you can see what's going on with that and see kind of how we're loading and how we're getting ready to take care of who's coming and who's going to be doing different things. So I'll come back to that. I know I had the list here. There we are. Let me jump into that real quick. This is what we have record of for clubs. For clubs that are taking gear to Gillette. So we want to share that with you. Just one moment. Get up here on this. So in case you're wondering, this is what we have on our list. And as you look at it, we've got clubs from each area, and clubs will have to go to these areas to load and unload their gear. If you're on your phone, this may be hard to see, but Central Florida is bringing 15 clubs and they have 48 containers. So we're excited for that. But we also know that that's a big part of our group that's coming. North Florida has 6 clubs coming, and these are the 6 clubs with 22 containers. And then also we have West Florida, 5 clubs from West Florida, 11 containers, and South Florida, our biggest group, you'll see the list there, has 32 clubs coming with 81 of the containers. So we wanted to make sure that you got at least a peek of that to see kind of where the containers are, they're distributed. We're already working on putting that together and setting up all our timing and schedule and different things. So that's something to keep in mind. In the chat, we've got some things coming in. I think is that you, Stephen, posting things? Yeah, good. All right, so Stephen's posting some things. I see the question about YMMS. We're going to come to that in our agenda. So give me a moment and we'll switch screens and go back to that. All right, we're back to this screen. So that's just containers and the list, and we'll send that out to everybody just so that your records match our records, and we want you to have a chance to review that. For golf carts, there is no news yet. I know many of you have asked golf carts, what's that look like? So because of the limited supply, we are considering this, that the golf carts may be more of a paid shuttle service for Florida clubs. So in other words, you would say, instead of me buying a golf cart for the week, for the whole time, you would say, hey, if I can get shuttle service for these times and these hours on this schedule from my club, then we're looking at what does that look like. It might be something that we have. So at this point, again, golf carts will be very limited. We're trying to say what's the best way to still serve people. I will share what they have shared with us about golf carts. The golf carts, there's a city, right? It's like a square. Think of a square. On the outside of the square is where the program will be. In the corner over here is where we'll be camping. So we're at one corner of the square, and on the other corner is the actual program for the evening. Everything else happens in the middle, and clubs are camping in the middle. And then there's a bus service, that shuttle that runs around that square. So one of the things to think about is golf carts most likely will be very limited or restricted from going through the square. They'll be asked to go around the square. So even the way we've thought about golf carts and using golf carts to get around to things, they're trying to redo that. So we will share more information as we get it, but just a heads up, many have asked, hey, when do I send in something? When is that going to be available? And it's something we still don't have information on, and we are making plans to have an alternate option for clubs who do need shuttle service. So that's something to keep in mind. Here we go. Big question. This was in the chat earlier. Registration. We have talked about before, registration opens in YMMS on May 7, and that's after Red Zone regular registration closes. So the registration for Believe the Promise opens May 7 and it will close June 3. Someone might say, why is it closing June 3? The reason is because we need to get our list locked in. We need to get everything finalized so that we can start getting other pieces of information ready for you. We want to get a map to you, and some of that detail will come out back in a moment. So here's our best advice. If you have adults that are not normally a part of your roster, they're just in your roster of members of your club because of Camporee, please make sure that they're background checked. Please make sure that you're doing that even now, because they will need to be done by May 28th. They'll need to have completed the online training, submitted their background check information, and they'll need to do that by May 28th. And there's a good reason for that, because by May 28th, that will mean that they'll hopefully be cleared by July 3. So please make sure, if you are on tonight, make sure that all of your adults that have to be background checked, all of your Pathfinders that have turned 18 or will have turned 18 by the event, that they complete their background video training and background check by May 28th to be able to register. YMMS registration will open May 7 and close July 3. Those are the big things to keep in mind there. We're also looking at an additional registration, and here's why, because there's a lot of other information that we need from you. These are the kind of details that we're seeing. We want to know if you're tent camping with Florida, and if you are, how many people are tent camping. You might have 50 tickets, but only 5 people camping in Florida. And if you only have 5 tent camping, we need those other 45 people spaces for other tents. So it doesn't make sense that if you have 5 people of your 50 in tents and 45 off-site, then we're giving you too much space, and that space could be used by other clubs. So we want to find that information out. Also, if you're tent camping with an RV, we want to know that. We'd like to know what the size and length of that RV is, so we can help to kind of get that managed. And doesn't mean you get more camping space, but it will be good information for us. So we can arrange for you to be closer to a street or a cross section so that you can actually get pumped out and those kinds of things. Also, we've had some clubs starting to ask, hey, we want to camp next to this club. Which club are you asking to camp next to? Have you confirmed it with them? So if you know that you are camping next to a club, you don't have to wait. You can send that to us as an email now, but we'll be putting that all together as we build the map of our Florida city at the Camporee, and we'll be watching for that. So another piece of information, who's arriving on Monday between 8 and 11? Gates will open at 11 a.m. and they'll close at 11 p.m. on Monday. Please remember, Monday there are no activities for Pathfinders. Nothing's happening in the city except setting up camp. The official opening program begins on Tuesday, and I believe it's at 7:30 p.m. And then also, please remember that on Tuesday noon is when activities first open. So that's another thing to keep in mind as you plan your arrival. So are you coming in on Monday, coming in on Tuesday? And then also, will you have items that need to be delivered? Are you planning to have an outside company bring a tent for you? Are you looking for a light tower or an RV or a trailer that they're delivering? We need to get that information and details, and we ask that you don't have any of that delivered until Monday. And that would be the first time, August 5, that we would say you can have those things set up. So if you are planning that, you need to let us know, and we need to know what it is and where you want that stuff. Another item that we want to know is, are you hosting international club guests? If so, how many and from which country? So these are some of the things on the registration that we're going to look for. So you'll get the YMMS registration, and then you'll have another registration where we'll look for these additional details to help us know how we can best serve your clubs. So watch for that, and that will go out similar to the May 7 when YMMS opens. We'll also get this opened up for you. Why are we asking for all this information? I talked about that a little bit earlier, and part of the reason is because we want to have a map of where Florida clubs are camping by July 1. What will that do? By July 1, we'd like every club in Florida Conference to see where they're going to be camping in this spot or that spot, and see, did we get this club next to this club like you asked, or is this club missing and we got to fix it or adjust it. We want to have that map, send it out to you so you can start to work on things. One of our clubs down in South Florida already is asking me, how's our campsite going to be? Is it going to be deeper or wider? Because last time we had a kitchen tent and we had it set up to go this way, but our space wasn't deep enough, so we had to switch it this way. And then our tents were all messed up. So they already have built a square or a rectangle of how they're going to camp. That's what we want to do, is to tell you by July 1, you're going to have 44 feet this way and 12 feet this way, or whatever the space actually turns out to be. But we want to give that to you because some of you are already trying to organize what your camp space will look like. So we're working hard to get that going and move in that direction. For Florida pins and Florida shirts, those will be ordered through YMMS, and those must be pre-ordered to be guaranteed. So if you want to make sure you get the Florida Conference Camporee shirt, the Florida Conference Camporee pin, you'll do that through YMMS. Those are not available for purchase yet, but those are in the works. We are designing those and finalizing those. So if you are wondering, where do I get my Florida pins, my Florida shirts, that will all be through YMMS. Some of you are asking about the Southern Union shirt. Yes, the Southern Union has a specific shirt for Southern Union, and that Southern Union shirt is something that clubs will be encouraged to wear on that day. It's not required. You don't have to do it, but Florida has put in some, the Union has put in some to drop the cost of that shirt so that hopefully as many clubs as possible can get the Southern Union shirt. So we'll look like this big group of about, I think, 8,000 people all wearing the same shirt on the same day. So those are the big agenda items we wanted to go through with you. I'm going to open it for questions, but before I go off the screen, I wanted to say April 28th at 7 p.m. is our next BTP meeting. You'll know that this is a new time. It was 8 o'clock before, but we're going to do it at 7 p.m. So the next time we'll meet with you to share more information will be in about a month on Sunday, April 28th, 7 p.m. And the reason for that is that same day we have a red zone meeting at 8 p.m. and we want to make sure that we get that, we don't conflict with those two meetings. All right, so I'm going to stop the screen share and open up the floor for questions. I see Midport has their hand up.
Hi, Pastor Pedro. I just wanted to make sure we're on the list for the containers. I didn't see Midport on there.
You didn't?
I'm just making sure. It went pretty quick, but I'm sure we're there.
Yeah.
I just want to verify.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm glad you did. Give me a second and I'll get over to that list. For South Florida, let me see, Midport. I have you down as having purchased 2 containers.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for clarifying. And again, that list I'll send out so that you have it and you can review it and make sure that we're all set. All right. Very
Thanks.
good. Are there other questions for tonight?
Yes, Pastor, I got a question. I'm trying to get another ticket from another conference. How can we make that happen? What's the procedures to get that ticket and make it as a Florida conference?
Yeah.
Or how do that work?
So a couple of things need to happen. One, your club that you're purchasing from another conference should inform their conference that they are reducing their total by X number of tickets. You, as the person purchasing the ticket, should also email your conference to say, we are purchasing X number of tickets. If you email us that and say, we're getting X number of tickets from this club, from this conference, we can make sure that we add that to our list and keep our numbers accurate. One of the reasons, does that help answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. And one of the reasons that we're doing our YMMS registration, not only is it helping us background check all of the adults, but it's also helping us get names to match the number of tickets coming to us from camporee.org. Camporee.org just sent us a list of how many tickets. They didn't send us all the details of the names that those tickets relate to. So that's where we want to make sure that that matches. So here's the thing. Let's say Midport, not because this is going to happen at Midport, of course, but let's say Midport has purchased 52 tickets from camporee.org. But when they come to the YMMS registration, they only register 42 people. That would be a difference of 10 tickets. So somewhere Florida Conference is going to say, hey, Midport, help us understand what the difference is. How come we only have 42 tickets for you from our YMMS registration, but Camporee has 52 tickets for you? And that's where we'll start contacting clubs to try to make sure we understand where those variances are. One of the lists that I'm going to send you is the latest list from camporee.org that says, here's how many tickets your club has purchased. So we're going to start going through that and working on those details. But yes, if you are exchanging tickets, if you're selling or buying, please do send us an email and let us know that you are increasing or decreasing your total tickets by X number. That will help us keep accurate records. Alicia, I see your.
Pastor Pedro, I have a question.
Okay,
Just
hang on one
clarification.
second. Let me get Alicia. I just told her she's coming on.
Hi, good evening, Pastor Pedro.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure that I'm recalling correctly. The first
Okay.
meeting that you had, you said for our large items, like for example, we have a big canopy that it's not able to fit in the e-container. You did say we could wrap it and label it and drop it off by Maranatha as well, right?
So should I keep to what I said?
Yes, just want to make sure. Now, second question, are we allowed more than one? Is there a limit to how many large items we could drop off?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that is something that we'll clarify with our Camporee committee. The answer to you reminding me of what I said is yes, we did say if you have a large kitchen tent, we will transport the canopy and the poles for your large kitchen tent, one per club, if you have purchased a decontainer space, right? This isn't for everyone, even if you didn't purchase decontainer space. If you have, and you have to transport a kitchen and you need it labeled, package it, yes, we will help you with that. In terms of the limitations and the quantities of tables, 10 by 10 canopies, that kind of stuff, we're still working with our Camporee committee to nail that down. And by our April meeting, we will let you know those details. I've started that conversation with Javier, but we've not finalized that with our Camporee camping committee. So yes, we are working on that. We know clubs need help with things that wouldn't fit in their container, and we are committed to that. We just got to help clarify that a little more.
Okay, thank you, Pastor.
You're welcome. All right, Calvin, let's come to you, and then we'll come to Rosie.
Yeah, Pastor Pedro, is there, could a list be sent out of things which should not be in the decontainers?
Calvin, that list already exists on the BTP website.
But you know why I say that? It is there, but some club will say they never see it and they're gonna bring things which cannot. And the disappointment will be shocking to them when we say these cannot go into the decontainer.
Yeah, you're right. So yes, that is something. Please do go to btp.com, and that is the ticket. That is the decontainer process to let you know what's going on. So I see some people. Thank you, Calvin, for reminding us of that. There are things that aren't allowed in the container. Things like gas. You can't bring gas, can't bring liquids, can't bring anything flammable, can't bring anything that's going to go kaboom, can't bring anything that's going to leak. If you want to pack fish in ice, that's not the place to put it. You can't transport food that's going to go to waste. It will spend a whole week in the truck. Rosie, you are next, and I see some things while you're getting ready. Some people are asking for tickets. Please do send an email to path.adv for tickets, because that's the place where we'll record it. And if you have Pathfinders that are turning 18 after June 10, that also needs to be sent an email, and I'll put that email in the chat so that you have it. It's the path.adv at Florida Conference, and that will register all of those things. We do not have tickets. I'll remind you of that. Florida Conference doesn't have tickets. If clubs have tickets and you see in the chat that you either want to sell or move, please make sure that you will do that. In terms of the waiting, let me go to Rosie, and then we'll come back to some things from the chat. Rosie.
It's related to that. I wanted to understand how that works because I think I'm waitlisted, and also would we be in time to get, if we get an extra ticket for whatever, if we are in time for the YMMS registration. If it would be in time for the YMMS registration.
Yeah, good question. So in terms of, let me just address this. We did tell you there was a waiting list, and we made the waiting list knowing that usually there are more people who want tickets than people who have tickets. So if you have tickets, let us know. If you can't sell them, we do ask that you would resell them in Florida before you'd sell them outside of Florida. A reminder, Camporee asks that you do not sell NAD tickets to international guests. International guests have a different process and they need to get tickets from the international ticket pool. In terms of registration, ideally, all of your tickets would be locked in by June when the registration for YMMS closes. And we know that there are going to be some exceptions and some changes and last minute things, so we'll work with you on that. But please do your best to have as concrete information as possible by the time YMMS registration closes on June 3, because that's when we start setting up maps, that's when we start setting up camping areas, and any big changes might mean you get tighter and squeezed more in. So we want to have all the best information we can by that deadline.
Is it June 3 or July 3?
June 3 is the deadline. Okay. Yeah, okay. June 3 is the deadline in YMMS so that we can start to lock in our pieces. And then we have to go through and see the differences between the Camporee list and your list and make sure that we figure that out as well. All right.
Pastor Pedro.
You should not register in YMMS if you don't have a ticket. Do not register people in YMMS that are not ticketed. Please don't do that. That question just came up in the chat. So please watch for that. I'm going to go to some hands. I know I just heard a voice, but let me go to the hands real quick. Anthony and then Vanessa, and then we'll open it up after the hands. Thank you for your questions.
Yeah, I'm going back. Good night. I'm going back to the canopies, the extra canopies.
Yes.
I would suggest strongly for those extra poles in the canopy, we break them down into smaller manageable bungles. Why? We'll be lifting those manually about what, 2 flights to the top of the bins. So, they need to be manageably, packed so they can be manually lifted. They won't be able to lift all maybe with the forklift. So, yeah. Pack them so they are, manageable, and the ends should be secured so they don't slide back on the person lifting it.
Yeah, good call. Thank you. And that's coming from experience of someone who's helped load and unload those poles, right, Anthony? That's good. Okay, so please do remember that. And also, I think Javier has mentioned before, label each pole. Each pole should have some kind of marker that says which club it's from, because inevitably, even though you package it, tape it, wrap it, those poles get spread apart in the moving around, and we have a pile of stuff that's kind of mismatched if you don't do that. All right, Vanessa, I see your hand. Let's go to Vanessa. Okay, while she's waiting to unmute or do something, let's go over to Caitlin. Caitlin, are you ready to talk to us? Caitlin, hello.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's Marlene. I don't. It says Caitlin because she's used my Zoom. But okay. Question: I caught that piece about if you have someone that will be turning 18 before Camporee.
Yes.
But after the registration date, I do have a Pathfinder that will be turning 18 in June. So what's the procedure for that? I missed that because I came in late. Sorry.
We will send that out to you. Part of that is sending an email, and the email is in the chat at path.adv@Florida Conference. If you send us an email, that triggers us to automatically force the email to come from Sterling for you to get permission to do the module of the background check and the online training. That's not something that's going to happen automatically sometimes. So you letting us know that you have that case, the name of the person, the club they're in, the date of their birth date, that helps us know how we can then help you to get that open for them so that that Pathfinder turning 18 can start their online training to complete it by the deadline, can start their background check, complete that request, and then wait for the results to come in. So please do email us at path.adv for any Pathfinders that you know have that situation. Usually they like for us to wait till about 60 days before that happens. So if the birth date is August 1 and you ask us to do it today, it probably won't let us do it, but we will work on helping the system get forced to give you that option as we get closer to the date. But to have a list of all those Pathfinders that you need to get cleared, we would work with you so that you make that May deadline to complete that background check process so that you can meet that June deadline of getting them registered in YMMS.
Okay, he won't be turning 18 until June 21st.
Okay, so then you can let us, that'll be fine then. That's within the 60 days.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
And
you.
we'll send that out as well in terms of the steps and reminders so that you can have that. We know that that's something clubs are facing.
Thank you.
See also in the chat a question about tables. That was part of the original comment as well. A tent canopy that people usually use for eating. That will work with you on if you have purchased the containers. Also, tables will work with you on that. We just need to decide with the Camporee what that quantity is to make sure that we don't get overloaded or don't have space for other stuff. All right. Very good. I think I've caught up on the hands. I know that we did have Vanessa with her hand up, but then she didn't come on. Is there anyone else who has a question? Something maybe we didn't address or you missed it because you came in later? If you have, I just see the question in the chat. If you have Pathfinders that are coming internationally, that are joining you and you're hosting them, that is something we'll let you know as we start the registration on May 7 in YMMS. We'll create an additional registration where you'll tell us those things that we went through in the agenda. So watch for that, and that's where we'll let the international clubs that you're hosting come in. That question was asked in Spanish, so I'm going to give the answer in Spanish real quick. Para los clubes que tienen personas internacionales que están acampando con su club, nosotros vamos a tener una registración separada, diferente a la registración de YMMS. Y nosotros queremos que ustedes nos informan en esa registración cuántos son y de qué país son los visitas que van a tener en su club para el Camporee. Okay? The question is, if you have a ticket, there's somebody online, so you can message them in the chat. Several people said they want tickets. Someone just said, I have tickets available. So please look in the chat and feel free to talk to people. Feel free to make a deal right now because there's a ticket that somebody says they have in the chat. So please check that out. Okay, let's open it back up. Any questions? As you get ready for Camporee, and as you do exchange tickets, buy or sell, please do keep a note of that and update us so that we have record and our numbers match Camporee numbers and your numbers. All right. Very good. I see Cheryl Smith has a video on. Hi, Cheryl from Apopka. Got a group coming all the way from Apopka. That's great. Okay. Very good. Anyone else have a question for tonight, or is that it? Javier, do you have anything to share with us as our camping director?
Yes, and good evening, everybody. I just want to tell you about your space at the Camporee. A lot of people are asking about their space because they want to make plans for their own campsites. And that's very good that you guys are doing that. The only thing that I cannot give you right now is the size in a way that I cannot tell you it's going to be 50 by 50 or 50 by 40 or it's going to be 30 by 50. I cannot give you that information yet. I can give you, according to the numbers of registrations, I can give you more or less what the space is going to be, like the big picture. For example, if you're bringing 10 Pathfinders or 10 registrations, so your space is going to be 110 more or less We're thinking that it's going to be between 110 and 120. But I always say it's better to think less and give you more than tell you more and give you less. So let's say 110. So 110 square feet per person per registration times 10. So that's the space that you're going to have. But at this moment, I cannot give you exactly the measurements of your space. Hopefully, by July 1st, that's the goal that we want. Everyone will get the size and also will get a map for Florida. So everybody will know where they're going to be camping, streets, campsites, and where the headquarters are going to be. We're thinking about doing an OAB village also for Florida. So all that is going to be very well shown on the map that you guys are going to be getting hopefully by July 1st. We're working hard to meet that goal.
Thank you, Javier. Anyone else have a comment or question?
Pastor Pedro, el hermano Javier, el que acaba de hablar, yo no entiendo mucho inglés, soy Elizabeth de North Miami. Él es el que dirige las secciones donde van a ir los clubes.
Sí, correcto. Y él habla español también.
¿Podría poner el número telefónico de él que necesito contactarlo, por favor, en el chat? Hermano Javier, por favor.
Yes, yo lo puedo hacer.
Gracias.
So Elizabeth from North Miami was just asking for the number for Javier so she can contact him with a camping question. So we're going to help provide that. Thank you, Javier. You can send that either as a private message to her, Elizabeth, or as a group chat message, whatever is easier for you. Okay, all right. So we are moving forward with our plans just like you are. This is the time to confirm all your contracts, go over all your reservations, make sure everything's in order. I know I've had some people tell me that they've had contracts or had reservations. When they called to confirm them, they said nothing happened there, that they couldn't find the reservation. So this is when you want to just double check everything. Make sure that you have things printed out, that you have everything that you need. This is the time to do that. And if you haven't finished planning everything, now's a good time to work on that as well, because these are the last days. We just looked it up. Javier, how many days do we have left before Camporee? We just looked it up tonight.
I think I wrote it here somewhere. Give me 1 second. It's 133.
Yeah, 133 days till opening day of Camporee. That should get some blood pumping in our veins, right? Yeah, Cheryl's excited about it. Very good. So this is definitely coming, and we are doing all that we can to help you get going and help you be ready. I do see a question in the chat, then we'll open it up one more time for general questions. If there are no more questions, we'll close the meeting. The question in the chat is, do international adults have to be background checked? What we are being told is that international guests are supposed to go through a process in their own country, and that's supposed to be governed by their local conference. So we are trusting that that's what they're doing and that's what's happening. That's the best information I'm getting. Doing a background check in America with American background check for someone who's not from North America wouldn't work. So that's what I'm being told, is that each conference that's sending international guests is being asked to administer and supervise that locally. So if you have international guests that are staying with you, please do just mention that and say, hey, we're being told that you guys are doing that locally. Is that happening? And just confirm with them so that that can help you to know what's going on. All right. Very good. So that's the agenda that we had for tonight in terms of what we wanted to share. I know Javier will have our final prayer and do that for us. I do see another question. Are electric scooters allowed? The answer is no. As far as I know, electric scooters are not allowed.
And Pastor, there's a question regarding toilets and showers.
Could you question? I don't see it.
It's above where I put my telephone number.
Okay.
It said, how about toilets and showers in the complex? How many will be for Southern Union?
Yeah. So I don't know how many are specific to Southern Union. I do know Southern Union has its own bathhouse. So we do have a bathhouse that's specific to Southern Union, and Florida Conference will be part of the bathhouse cleaning schedule to help make sure that bathhouse stays clean. And every conference in our union will as well. We have been told that there are more flushing toilets than there were at Oshkosh, and there are more showers than there were at Oshkosh. So in terms of those facilities, that's what we have been told. Each union will have their own restroom facilities in their union area. So we do know that much. Hopefully we'll bring back more information at the end of April. There'll be a small team that's doing one last site visit to Gillette to get more information. So we'll be giving that to you at the August 28 meeting when we meet again with our BTP session here. So that's what we are able to answer for tonight. Very good. So the big idea is this. If you've never been to an International Camporee, it's a very big event, and the people who have the best experience choose what they are going to participate in. You can't do it all. It's kind of like going to Disney or going to a theme park. You can't do it all. So choose the 3, 4, 5 things that you want to. Choose the things that you want to see or want to be a part of, knowing that you're not going to be able to get it all. And then once you've chosen what you want to do, enjoy that and go and have fun doing that. But the idea of a camporee is that you would be able to have access to more things than what you can see or do. And that's part of the thing. So plan your days. There are offsite things. If you haven't been to the camporee.org website, that's a great place to go. I'm putting those, the Florida Conference webpage is there in the chat now, as well as the camporee.org. That's the main Camporee webpage. If you haven't read through the Camporee page, read through it. If you haven't read through the Florida Conference Camporee page for Florida Conference, read through it. Those are great places to get information. Again, having information helps you have a great experience. So we want to give you the best information we can to help you have that experience. When clubs order food, okay, so the question is ordering food from the Walmart in Gillette. If you were advised from the Walmart to wait till 7 days before, then I would say that's what you do. They're the ones monitoring their schedule and doing all of that. So please do wait for that schedule. They have told us that the Gillette Walmart knows that we're coming. They know that they need to be stocked with almond milk and oat milk and soy milk and all of the Morningstar vegetarian foods. So they know that that's coming. They know to have extra supplies. So that is the best detail I have there. Thank you for the question, but if that's what they're telling you from Walmart, that's what you should follow. I don't have any other details on Walmart and pre-purchasing food or items there. All right, so I'm going to officially give one last invitation. Anyone have a question or a comment that you'd like to ask? Raise your hand, speak up, unmute your mic, or put something in the chat. Okay, then I'm going to officially close the recording and ask Javier to pray for us.
Wait. Pastor.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry I had to leave for something when the brother was explaining about all the campings and stuff like that. The trailers, like the pulling trailers, are gonna be able to stay in the camping area.
Each club will be allowed one vehicle in their camping area, yes. And keeping that vehicle there reduces the amount of tent camping space you will have. But you will be allowed to have one vehicle there, one trailer, and that vehicle or trailer should not move during the whole camporee until Saturday evening. So as long as you know that, then yes, that's allowed.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Avinel, the name says Avinel anyway.
Yes, that's what it says, Pastor.
Okay.
I just want, good night, sir. everyone. I want to ask Cynthia, please, can we have those tickets that you have? I'm begging, pleading. Thank you very much.
Okay,
I put my information in the chat.
yeah, I think she put some info there too. So yeah, please do grab any information from the chat that you wanted. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Ah, thank you. All right. Yeah, I know. Seeing tickets are available got some people excited. So I'm glad that that was one way we could network tonight. Anthony, go ahead.
For the, did I unmute? Yeah. For the loading dates, especially for the South, we are very large. I'm asking for all to come early on that Sunday morning. Early Sunday morning, so we can, it's a long day, so we could get you loading the trailer, in a very timely manner. But don't wait for the last minute, come in early.
Okay, thank you for that, Anthony. And I will share this with you too. South Florida will have 2 trucks. One truck that will load 26 containers and then head to Central to finish loading and then go up to North to get some more. And then South will have a second truck, and that truck will be filled all with only South Florida. Before we go to Daryl, I see your hand up. The people asking Cynthia for information about the tickets, Cynthia, if you're still on, please look through the chat. Several people have tried to put information there for you to say that they want the tickets that you said you had. So Cynthia, if you're still on, please do look through the chat to help people know how to contact you. Daryl, back to you, and then to Pearl.
Pedro, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Hello, everybody. So since I've been working with the All-Stars for the last few months, a couple of directors have asked me, will the conference do what they've done in the past, and that's take a few drums with them to the Camporee and the trailer. And I told them I did not have the answer to that and that I would refer it to you. And I just remembered now, and that was 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So that's the answer for that question. I guess you don't have to answer me here, but since we're on the club meeting, I figured that would be a good question.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So regarding transporting drum equipment, that's something that we'll put on our list to talk about, and we'll report back to Daryl, and we'll report back to this group as we meet. We got another meeting at the end of April, another one later on, I think in May or June. So we'll have several of these meetings to try to keep everybody on the same page moving forward. So thank you for the question, and no answer tonight for you.
Because remember, Florida Conference is the one that is opening the Camporee. And Florida Conference also has a special performance on Friday night. So our conference will be definitely heavily visible and watched by thousands.
Yes. And through the internet, through tens of thousands. I'm aware.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's not Pearl. That's Lydia.
Pastor, it was Lydia before. I just forget to update it. Earlier on, it was Lydia, but it's still me.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say, I just wanted to remind the directors that the OAVs on Sunday will not be packing their D containers for the clubs. Each club must come with their own people to load up their D containers. We will assist, but we will not be doing it for the directors.
I thought Lydia was doing all of that personally. Like she was.
Oh, no problem, Pastor. You want me to charge you per hour or per minute?
Ooh, I love it. Love it. So Lydia is making that clear, and that is true. We will be there to make the container available to you. We will be there to assist you if needed, but you need to bring your gear and people to take your gear from your vehicles and put the gear into your container, and then the lid has to close flat because we'll stack another container on top of it. So we can't have containers that are bobbled on the top, or it will make our load unstable. Thank you, Lydia, for that reminder. Clubs are responsible to both unload their car, load their container on July 28th, and then on the pickup side, unload their container and load their car on August 18th. So someone said in the chat that they think the lady who had the tickets has left. So I don't know how to assist further with that, but hopefully there's some way to make contact. Cynthia, I don't know. Stephen, could you look in there and see if you find anything? All right. I think that's it. Javier, any final thoughts or questions?
Yes,
comments?
she has, I'm sorry. She has her, I think at Cynthia's iPad, I think there's a phone number there also for her. 321-356-4904. So I think she left it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for confirming that. So if you did need something, go back through there and look. Sorry, Javier, to jump in on you.
That's okay.
Please,
I just wanted,
please repeat the number, please. It's not her number. I contacted the number that was there. It's not Cynthia. It's somebody else.
Okay. And Kelvin's saying, don't call 321. I love it. All right. Sorry for the confusion there. I know that that was exciting and a lot of people got excited about a number with tickets, but it seems like it was more confusing or challenging than it was helpful. So I apologize for that. That's not something we're trying to monitor. That just kind of happened. And I thought that might be a blessing, but now it seems like it's a little complication. Okay. Yes, you can get a photo of the container from the website, and that was listed before at the BTP Florida conference. I'll post it again. That's the website, and the website has the picture of the D container, the dimensions of the D container, and all of those things. So please do check out the website and look for the D container information. There's a whole chart on that. It tells you what you can't put in, tells you the dates of the loading, dates of the unloading, all the details. All right, Javier.
I just want to put my cell phone number again, just in case somebody need it. I work a lot better by text than email. So if somebody have any questions regarding the Camporee, they can text me. It's 321-356-1911, and it's right there. You can see it. Also, I need to add to what we already said is that Florida campsites are going to be across from a parking. So if somebody don't need to have their vehicle in their campsite because they're not using it for storage or they're not using it for anything else other than transportation, they can just park the trailer across the street, basically. That way they can have more room in their campsites. This is just an idea because we're not going to be far from a parking. Basically, it's across the street next to us. Just wanted to add that to the conversation.
Thank you. And that's good to know because it's something that you do want to maximize your camping space. And if you don't need the vehicle, why take up space for it? And especially because we're going to be out on that corner. Hopefully streets are there. So very good. All right. I'll stay on for a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and close the meeting. I'm going to stop the recording. And thank you for being a part of this second BTP Zoom meeting. We've planned several of these just to try to help you get information, know what's happening, trying to help you not be stressed, know what the deadlines are, know what to expect, and as much information as possible so you can have the best experience possible. So we've got a whole team of volunteers working to help support you, to be with you at Camporee. We've got a whole office team working hard to support you and help you have a great experience. And with all of us working together and with God with us, we know that we'll get through whatever happens. And if you've ever been to an event like this, you know stuff happens. Somewhere something happens, but God always helps us to get through. So thank you for being on tonight. Again, we will post this with the email link to tonight's recording. We'll post it to our website. We'll try to keep you informed as much as possible. Feel free to contact us at the office anytime, and we'll do all we can to support you.